I'm Sarah Lowther and welcome to another London South East CEO interview. Today I'm joined by Mike Buck, the Chief Executive of Petro Matad. It's the parent company of a group focused on oil exploration as well as future development and production in Mongolia. It holds 100% working interest and the operatorship of two production sharing contracts with the government of Mongolia, Block 20 and Block 5. So, Mike, a warm congratulations, first of all, on securing your exploitation license for Block 20, which has been a long time coming. So can you outline for us what this means for the company moving forward?
Yes, indeed. It has been a very long time coming. I hope the next time that we apply for one, the process is somewhat more streamlined. We've made that proposal, but up until now, it seems to have largely been ignored. Anyway, yes, we did, after 20 months of trying, we did finally get our exploitation license for Block 20, and that covers the entirety of our Heron oil discovery that we made in 2019. And that allows us, that gives us tenure of the land for 25 years plus. There are some extensions allowed. So we have tenure of that for the exploitation phase of the production sharing contract. And so we are now going to be moving from the pure explorer that we've been throughout our existence up until now into a production company and as well as an explorer to continue our efforts in Mongolia to find more oil.
So I'm wondering why it took so long to get that exploitation license, why the process was so clunky, and have you now got a gold standard for applying for licenses?
Well, fair to say that Mongolia has done a lot of exploitation licenses for mining, but this is only the third one in its history that it has done for petroleum. And the two that were done previously, one was about 12 years ago, the other one about 6 years ago. They were done when the fields that were being turned over to exploitation already had hundreds of wells drilled on them. So Petro Matad coming along with its interesting database, but not a huge number of wells already drilled. In fact, only one production test on the Heron structure on our side of the block boundary. Needed quite a lot of adaptation and flexibility from the Mongolian government to get their head around how do we do this compared to how we've previously done it. Of course, in the international sphere, it's quite normal to do particularly onshore developments with only a relatively limited number of wells. But I was pleased that the Mongolian government finally got behind it, was able to move it forward, approve the reserves, and then approve the plan of development, which were the two key stages towards getting the exploitation license awarded.
Okay, so interesting databases are worth their weight in gold, but you're not a miner. So when do you expect first oil, and do you have the required partners and distribution lined up?
Our plan is to get the field on stream as quickly as possible, and that means sometime in 2022. I'm hoping for around about the middle of the year. What we want to do is we want to put Heron One on stream, so we need to complete the well, stimulate the reservoir with techniques that have been widely used around the world but not been used in Mongolia, and then put that well on stream. And in parallel with that, drill two other wells within the proven area of the field, so that by the end of the drilling campaign in 2022, we've got 3 wells on production, and we will be finally producing some oil, finally producing some revenue. We do have a rig contract at the moment, but I'd like to discuss with the rig contractors the possibility of a more cost-effective arrangement now that we can have multi-well programs as development lends itself to, rather than as exploration tends to be a bit more stop and start. And in terms of the production, we're fortunate that Heron is only 17 kilometers away from PetroChina's Mongolian facilities in their block immediately to the north. And during 2020, when we were discussing the shared nature of our field between our block and the PetroChina block, we signed a memorandum of understanding with PetroChina, whereby they have agreed to give us access to their facilities and their export route for the oil. And that makes the job very much easier because we don't have to invest in any facilities ourselves, and they have a very, very efficient operation. We've still got to sort out the commercial details of that, and that was deliberately left until we had the award of our exploitation license. But we're starting those discussions now. But it's nice to have a neighbouring operator that is keen and very willing to cooperate and offer us access for those facilities. So we actually just have to drill some wells and put some minimal facilities on our own locations and get an agreement with PetroChina whereby they can process and export the oil for us.
Okay, so good luck with those cost-effective conversations, which brings us to money. You've recently successfully closed a fundraise round. What will the money fund and how much was raised?
In total, gross proceeds were around about $10.5 million. And those proceeds are to fund, obviously, the company's running costs, but I like to think we're a pretty cost-effective organization. And it will fund the completion and put on production of Heron One. Will fund Heron 2 and Heron 3 and our PSC costs, etc. We also want to bring into Mongolia some technology for reservoir stimulation that's not been used before, but we have got quotes for that, and that's pretty cost effective. So the amount raised covers that quite nicely.
Now, prior to the fundraise, Mike, you were helped by getting a line of credit from Petrovis, your largest shareholder. Now, you repaid that on Monday, right at the beginning of August. What will Petrovis's role be as the company progresses towards development?
Yeah, they were our founding shareholder, and they've been our largest shareholder throughout our existence. And I must say, for a company that they're in the downstream, they're in fuel distribution, they're Mongolia's largest fuel distribution company. Back in 2005, they wanted to get into the full value chain. They wanted to find oil in Mongolia, produce it, refine it, and then sell it as a distributor. They still have that goal all these years later, so it shows what great patience they've had, but also the support they've given to Petro Matad throughout our existence has been pretty much invaluable. And not only did they make a line of credit available to us when we were going through the very slow process of getting the exploitation license, they did that to ensure that even if there was further delay, we would still be able to run and maintain our operating capability. But also during the capital raise, Petrovis once again was involved and participated in that, which I think contributed greatly to its success. We were happy to pay them their loan back, although we are discussing with them whether that loan facility will remain in place or not as we go forward in case we ever need it again. But at the moment, we certainly do not. And I think that they will remain a stalwart and firm supporter of the company. They are a very well-known company in Mongolia, and obviously they have a skill set and contacts within the country. So if ever we need their advice on the industry or the situation in the country, they're always very, very willing to help out. And I don't see that changing. I think that will continue. They're very happy that we found some oil, and they're also very interested in what's going to happen to that oil. The Mongolian government is building a refinery, and they do want to start refining and then selling Mongolian domestic crude. So I'm sure Petrovis would like to get involved in that.
And I'm guessing that Petrovis's network is just as meaningful as the potential funds they might give to you should you need them. But you've also opened the door to retail. You've announced the launch of the open offer for retail shareholders. So what was the rationale behind that?
Well, it's always difficult when you're doing a capital raise to try and make sure that your stalwart, supportive retail shareholders can get a chance to participate at the price that has been set for new money, new investors to come in. This time around, we used primary bid to give some access to retail shareholders, but not everybody can move with the speed with which primary bid operates. So we also went with an open offer to give people more chance to actually participate. Now, fair to say that since the raise, the share price has not been above the raised price. So on a short-term investment, it hasn't looked particularly good. But at least people had the chance. Some people have taken it up, and for which we thank them for their support. And we certainly hope as we go through the next phase of operations that people are going to see value creation from what we're going to do in 2022 and beyond.
Okay, so value creation will come from operational success. So operationally, what does Petro Matad now need to do to get itself into a place to be a fully operational oil producer in Mongolia?
Well, we've got to move quickly to secure the contracts we need for drilling services and all the services that go with that. But this is something that we've done before. And as I said, we were able to maintain our operating capability. So the people that had the skill to do it last time, they're still with us, and we'll be doing that once again. So I don't have any doubts there. 2020 and 2021, for those people who were trying to operate in Mongolia, have been quite badly affected by the pandemic, but we seem to be now moving into a phase of certainly a new normal, but an operationally feasible normal right now. So I can see, I'm very hopeful that we won't have difficulties getting mobilized for the start of the drilling season at the end of the first quarter of 2022. And whilst we will focus primarily on the development of Heron and getting the field on stream, we're not losing sight of the exploration potential. The government of Mongolia awarded us an area around Heron that includes a lot of appraisal and exploration prospectivity that is potentially very high value and could really add to the overall value of our portfolio. So we would like to be exploring that at some stage. There is no time bind on that at the moment. We have all the years of the exploitation license to do it, but I'd like to do it sooner rather than later. And we also have remaining potential in Block 5 in central Mongolia that we want to follow up. And we're also pursuing some new areas in Mongolia that we would like at some stage to add to the portfolio. So looking forward to being very active once again.
Okay, so let's summarize that, because the investors do like a line of sight in terms of milestones. So in terms of milestone announcements, the ones that are sooner rather than later, Mike.
Yeah, okay. Well, obviously through the next couple of months, we'll be dealing with PetroChina to sort out the commercial arrangements of access to their facilities. Obviously, that's an important thing to get sorted out. We want to make sure we get a good deal, but I think there are benefits for both sides there, and the Mongolian government will be very interested to make sure that we can do that deal. I think that will be announceable once we've done it. Getting the access to the equipment we need, and if we can get a cost-effective solution for the drilling, then maybe we can even potentially increase our drilling program. We'll see. In parallel with those operational preparations, we are also, now we have legal tenure to the Block 20 exploitation area. We're now going to move ahead and put some effort into potentially finding a partner for the development as well as for future exploration. The reason why I'd like a partner for the development is that we could, with a well-funded and enthusiastic partner, we could really accelerate the pace of development of Heron and the satellite features around it, which would also accelerate cash flow and which would enhance value. So if we can get a good deal, by which I mean a deal whereby the incoming partner is prepared to fund a work program, we're not looking for cash from them, we want work from them. If we can get a good deal on good terms, I think that would be of great benefit. And obviously that would be a highly announceable event. So we will be working on that over the next few months. And obviously once 2022 gets started, then we'll be building up to operational activity and reporting on it as we always do.
Lovely. Mike Buck, Chief Executive of Petro Matad. It all sounds as though it's going very well with those key relationships and partnerships. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much.